And I'll start. I'm Daryl Andrews, Coach D. I am a workforce development trainer, consultant, and coach, as also education. We do a lot of work in education circles. I have been doing this work for 20, I don't want to say how long, it's gonna make me sound old, but 24 years. Started off as a WIA contractor in Delaware County, Pennsylvania, and Wilmington, Delaware, and ran two very successful workforce development programs that had high placement levels and high retention levels with both youth and adults. And so I always tell people a lot of the principles that we share are not just sharing from a perspective of just being a trainer, but also a person who ran programs. So we understand the day-to-day things. So we're just gonna go around somebody and everyone has to say one thing that's kind of good that's going on in their life right now. All right, so tell us about who you are and one thing that's good that's going on in your life. The one thing that's good that's going on in my life, my daughter has finally gotten her own apartment. So I now have two people off the payroll. So those of you who have kids know exactly what I'm talking about. So I am getting a little bit more money in my wallet these days. So Kelly, how you doing? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm probably like the new one on here. My name is
Okay.
Kelly Ershaw. I am a very new program manager in Chester County.
Okay.
Like 2 months new. We're talking
Oh,
2 months new.
well,
And
welcome.
Brand spanking new,
Good to
Coach.
meet you.
Brand
Good to see
spanking.
you.
Yeah.
but what
Yeah.
Tracy meant to say is brand spanking new, but she's crushing it.
I like you already. You're my kind of person. Go ahead.
I have to tell you something funny. I was in a meeting on, I don't know, Tuesday with Butch and Jason from CareerLink and all, and
Yeah.
we were talking about professional development.
Yeah.
And someone said, well, I wonder if Coach D's gonna, something soon. And like an hour later, your email came through. I was like, that's
Yeah.
weird, very strange.
Yeah.
So we spoke it into existence.
Okay.
Something good in my life right now.
Mm.
There's a lot of good. I
Mm-hmm.
think there's a lot of good. Um,
That's good.
I know, like I can't,
Yeah.
I think probably this job,
Okay.
this is a good, I was with an organization for a very long time and I still love and adore them, but it was time for a switch. So this has been a good switch.
Very good. Well, I'll tell you something, as a person who's been interacting with this organization for about a decade, you're absolutely right. I've been off and on training here for at least 10 years. And we used to do a lot of the live programs, but the pandemic shifted that. And I think, be honest with you, this is more efficient. Folks can do a training and go right back to work versus we used to pull everybody into a location from all these different places. And now it's much more efficient. So nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Tracy, of course I know you, but since we're all doing this, go right ahead, my friend, and tell us who you are and a little bit.
Everybody knows me. I'm like, I don't meet many people that don't. I am just kidding. Hi. I've been around a long time, folks. Seriously. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Tracy Doherty. I am a workforce coordinator. I monitor the youth programs. So that would be Career Corps, and then I've got 4 other TANF funded programs. And when I say I've been around a long time, I've been December 21st was, drum roll, 14 years with the county. 14. I know, right? I started as a Title I program coordinator. So working with the folks to get the individual training accounts and the adult dislocated worker population. I've got case management experience. I went to school for teaching, and that kind of went a totally different way. I went to school actually for elementary ed 120 years ago. Unlike you, Coach, I will say it. I am a proud 53. Yes, folks, I was born in 1970. I am a proud 53. So something good. I think just to be able to say that, to be transparent and go, age is a number. It's a number. It's a moment where you are in time. It's your mindset. So you're on mute.
Thank you so much.
I always do that so I don't interfere. But I said, to me, you are a youngster, so you're okay. Don't feel bad.
Right.
You are a youngster to me.
Young. That's right.
I'm 61 years old, so I may not
Oh,
look it. I may, but I am. All right.
Oh, you are not that much older than I am, and
Yeah.
like we roll.
We rocking and rolling. We
We
rock
rock and roll.
Yep, Debbie, tell us just a little bit about yourself. Good to see you again. Mhm.
My name is Devayani Krishnaswamy. I work with Tracy in the workforce development department. This
Okay,
development and department, I go
okay.
slow. Yeah, yesterday I completed 2 years in the department. So from today, it's my third year. I work as the fiscal coordinator. Yeah, thank you.
You handle
Yeah,
something important.
good thing happening in my life. Yes, my older daughter is here for winter vacation.
Mm-hmm.
She's a freshman in college.
Mm-hmm.
And my second daughter, she's getting ready to go to college this fall.
Okay,
So these are the two good things
very good.
for me.
Your pockets will be a little
That's it.
lighter, but in a few years it'll get back to normal.
It's
When my kids
empty
were-
already.
I had three at the same time. I'll tell you, money was just flying out my pocket. But anyway,
Empty. Like
yeah.
we are thinking, man, the sources what to do.
Oh, there you
Anyhow,
go. There you go.
we'll
All right,
make it.
thank you,
Thank
Josephine.
you.
Hello, we have Josephine.
Yes, I am here and listening to everybody.
Hey,
I'm Josephine Gardner.
hey,
I work
Josephine.
at the Chester County and the Delaware County offices, so it's nice to hear you come from the Delco team.
Yes. Yes.
I work alongside both Tracy and Kelly, so
Okay.
definitely excited about the new energy here at Chester County. You know,
Nice.
that's always wonderful when people bring energy to the team,
Mhm.
positivity, teamwork.
Very
Um,
good. Mhm.
And I love it when everybody just jumps in and says, hey, I got this. Let's do this. Let's figure this out.
Gotta love it. That's the beauty of that team. All right,
Mhm.
very good team. We gotta get you to talk to them Delaware County folks. They have not gotten me in yet. I'm like, what y'all doing? I'm one of your own, man. I ran some of the most
Right.
successful programs years and years ago, right over in Chester. We had an office on 9th Street. We were running our programs over there. So anyway, we'll have to send you some information to pass on to them. All right,
Mhm.
and then Chris.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody.
Hey.
Chris Quinn. I work with Equus Workforce Development.
Mhm.
And I work all throughout Pennsylvania. I work with the court system and help individuals who are non-custodial parents get jobs. So I work throughout Delaware, Chester, Lancaster, Dauphin County, and Philadelphia.
Oh, okay. So you're pretty active throughout. Okay. And you said you repeat again that you work with people who you said part of the court system. Could you repeat that one more time?
Yeah, so we work with non-custodial parents.
Oh, non-custodial.
Um,
Okay.
Yeah, and we try to help those who don't have a job obtain employment so that they can pay their child support.
Got you. Okay. All right. Well, thank you, sir. It's good to have you on. And all I have here is iPhone. I don't have a name, but there's an iPhone that's here with us. And who's this wonderful person on the iPhone? Maybe they're not able to. I love seeing that, but I always get nervous. Like, who is this person? You know, so many people are hacking these doggone Zoom meetings now. You don't know somebody, but this person obviously is not doing that, but probably just can't chime in. So let's dive right into what we're going to be talking about. One thing when we plan all of these training sessions out, we have 3 more left today and 2 more. Just to let you know, Kelly, typically we're contracted to do a series of about 10 trainings. And it's usually twice a month. We took December off because that's sort of a slow month and give everybody a chance to regroup. And now we're coming back. We have this month and we have February. February is going to be amazing because we're going to be breaking down some strategies around atomic habits. And I'm a big believer in the back end stuff it takes to succeed on the front end. You know, when I ran my workforce programs, I was big on my staff being developed, trained, coached on soft skills, trained on client relationships, trained on teamwork, because what I shared with my team was that all of that plays a significant role in the culture of our organization. So the more efficient we are, the more organized we are, the more disciplined we are, and the more we work together, the better our chances are. We're going to not only help our clients succeed, but we're going to have a great work experience with one another. One of our fastest growing areas of training right now is in self-care. And I have done some self-care training for this organization because even as we're doing all this to empower our clients, we have to empower ourselves. We can't give out of an empty tank, And so what we're saying here today is that, so we're going to be talking about, this was a different type of a training that I proposed for this month because, and if you're a note taker, this is a good time to start taking notes. One thing that I really wanted everyone to embrace for 2024 is not the need to gain new information all the time just for the sake of gaining it, but to gain it so that I can execute on it. We really have to understand one of the keys to success in workforce development or any other space is not information, but execution. Because we can get all the information in the world and won't do anything with it. And then as a year, I was and still I'm a big believer when the years go on with my team, that we can look back and say, okay, these were the plans we had corporately and individually. And how are we doing? You know what I mean? And it wasn't, no, let me make this clear. It wasn't a performance evaluation. That's a totally different thing. This was just us individually creating our own plans for what we wanted to do in our positions and supporting each other in that quest. So I didn't want anybody on the team to feel intimidated or nervous that, oh man, if I don't hit these goals, even though they, again, we do have performance appraisals and things like that, but these were just more supportive type things that we want to do to encourage each other. And so execution is the key because, for instance, we can do a team building training, and then 3 months later, are we doing team building? You know what I mean? It's like, okay, what did we do? We learned this, but did we apply it? And so I realized that a lot of times we don't apply because we don't understand systems, a systems mindset and a systems approach to things. And I've shared this quote before, and I'm going to jump into some information here to get us going. We've already conducted the training. Well, now what we're going to do is, and we have a video out there that Lucia has that of the first training. This one, we're going to look at those topic areas and do a little bit more coaching. But what I want us to understand for what we're about to do now is we're going to talk about that process that it takes to move these ideas, these goals, and these concepts from just a general idea, perception, whatever you want to call it, to reality. And the quote I was going to share a moment ago was this, and it's a very powerful quote. And you'll hear this again during the Atomic Habits. And that is, we don't rise to the level of our goals. We fall to the level of our systems. It's truly the systems that we put in place that move us to outcomes. So if you're a leader within the organization, if you're frontline, whatever capacity, we still should have systems in place to achieve the outcomes that we want. So more in 2024 is really about back-end systems. So let me go in and show the slides here for some of you to be seeing it for the first time. For I know Tracy and Debbie, they've seen it before, but this is what we're going to be talking about. And so it's good to see again, Chester County's on. Okay, okay, I got iPhone person said Cooper and Chester County. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I see that now. I didn't see that a few moments ago. All right. And so my company has been changed to Motive Action LLC from Daryl Andrews LLC and Associates, hence the Motive Action that you see there. We talked about what the learning objectives were. I'm not going to really go into that right now because what I want to talk about is the process. Okay. Now, this is important because when we talk about the achievement of our goals, the most simple thing in the world is to say, I have a goal, because it's easy to say it, I have a goal to, do this, or the goal to do that, or, like, for instance, we all, this is kind of a running joke year after year, but we all have New Year's resolutions. And then by February, like, what did we resolve to do? It's kind of like it sort of fades away, but what people don't realize is the reason why is because we didn't put a system to it. We said, this is what we want to do. And mentally we had it was in our minds, but we didn't move it. So So here's what it is like. So we're going to talk about this process of moving whatever the goal may be, client success, programmatic success, fiscal success, whatever aspect I'm working in the county or the different organizations I'm with. Equus, I'm very familiar with Equus. I've done a lot of work with Equus. So it's good to hear that we had someone on here that, you know, has that works with Equus. That was good. Chris, I think Krista said that. And so I'm very familiar with your organization all over the country because I've done a lot of, matter of fact, I was at your national headquarters in Louisville, Kentucky, and met with Mark, the president, did some training for the leaders on self-care. I did all the regional directors on self-care. So I'm familiar with Equus to the max, okay? And which was exciting. And so, yeah. So I know about you, man. I know about your organization. And so we the first aspect is vision. I'm gonna just, this is just a foundational thing. What's the vision? What is it that I want? Like, for instance, if I say I want client to enhance my client, you know, employment outcomes or just general life success outcomes, because sometimes success is measured by the fact that they're making movement there. They went from not applying to jobs to applying to jobs, or they went from not sending out resumes to sending out resumes, or they went from being sort of difficult to now working with you, you know? So like there's wins all along the process. We just got to see the wins. So the vision is like what we're looking, when we look out, when we forecast out for the year, what do I want? You know, it's just a statement that defines what it is I want in my particular position. And for the sake of this program, and I mentioned this last time, what is I want for my life? I think it's sometimes good to put both, you know, I'm a career thing, but what's maybe one personal thing that I want to focus in on as well? Since we're doing this training, I said, well, why not include both? Because, you know, life is about work and beyond. So we have vision, which is the bigger picture. We have planning, which is the strategic steps, okay? We have the process control. What are the tactics and things like that we need in order to achieve it? Scorekeeping, how are we measuring? And in time use, we look at things like time blocking and all of that. So what's interesting immediately, you know, I would think the most amazing thing about all of this, I never once said anything about WIOA. I didn't say anything about, you know, any of that. You know, so what I did was I basically shared with you, this is what it takes in order to move things forward. So, so I mentioned earlier, I already gave you the word, but you know, there's one thing that's difference maker. One word, it really is. And that word is execution. Execution. And I find that organizations that do the execution well of goals, mission, vision, all of it, they do better than most. They really do. And I've always, no matter what organization I did corporate work, I always ran with vision, mission, goals, and how do we execute? Because it's a winning formula, okay? And so more in 2024 means we're going to be strategic. We're going to visualize what we want. We're going to put together a monthly or bi-weekly plan to measure. We're going to surround ourselves with people who can help. We will celebrate the achievement and then get back to work. We don't have to sit around for 5 days, celebrate. You know, if I say I want to lose 20 pounds, I lose 20 pounds. Ooh, that's fantastic. Can I lose another 5? I mean, so it's great to celebrate, but we don't want to celebrate so much that we don't go back to the actual process of doing what we did to get to that result in the first place. So we want to develop those habits. That's why next month is going to be really good, because we're going to be talking about those atomic habits. All right. So that's what this is all about. So vision. All right. And so a couple of the folks on here already did this, but what I'm going to do is a little different. All right. I'm going to just have you, we're going to break you up for, it's only going to be a few moments because I believe interaction is good. And so we're going to have you just kind of think about what's one thing you would like to see in your position this year? Like, what is one goal you would like to achieve? It could be engage, if you're a leader, engaging your employees, if you're managing multiple projects, to see those projects succeed, you know, things like that. Because in order to achieve the outcome that I desire, I gotta see it first. Does that make sense, everyone? You know, you can go in the chat feature or the emojis and give me a thumbs up. Do you understand what I mean by that? I'm seeing something that does not exist yet. That's called an end result. That's what I'm doing. I'm seeing something. And so my mentor said it like this: vision is going into the future, grabbing your dream, pulling it into the present, and beginning to work on it. So to you, the thing you are designed to do with your organization, all right, Equus, the county, workforce development, you're all connected to workforce development. I gotta have a picture of it in my head. I gotta see it. And it's gotta go from head to writing down too. It's not just in my head. So work-related objective do you want to aim to achieve? What personal goals? Like I said, mention personal as well. So I want you to write those two things down. What's a work-related goal, objective, and what's a personal one? All right. And so envision the ultimate outcome of attaining these objectives. I want you to think about that. All right. So express the ultimate outcome as a vision and explain it, the rationale behind it. So for instance, let's say, a case manager or something, or a job developer or whatever position. I can put down something like, in the course of this year, my ambition is to facilitate the empowerment of 50 job seekers, enable them to secure meaningful employment and subsequently enhance their quality of life. That's the why part. That's the extra part that people don't typically put in vision type stuff. I am motivated to accomplish this because the positive impact on one individual's life has a ripple effect, extending its influence to many others. Those who know me know that I'm here as a byproduct of my mother being in workforce development in the 70s. Hence why I'm interested in workforce development. Workforce development changed my mother's life, hence it changed mine. She became a first generation high school graduate. I became a first generation college graduate. You see how it works? So it's not us placing people just on jobs. Some of the folks that we place on jobs, they're going to impact their children because of the decisions that they're making. And then their children may take it to the next level. So I'm going to give you about 4 or 5 minutes. I'm going to break you up in just a couple of rooms. That's it. Just 2 rooms. I want you to take about a minute to write a thought down for yourself. Or if you want to, you guys can just take turns talking about it and say, this is just one thing that, based on what's Coach saying, that I would like to accomplish. And then, give us your why. Why do I want to accomplish it? Because the why is going to be the anchor to the vision statement, all right, that you're making for your position. All right. So again, y'all feel good with that? Thumbs up, thumb sideways. Oop, there it is. Welcome, Selena. It's good to see you here. And so what we're going to be doing is we're going to look at a bit in our position and then even in our life. What is it what would I like to accomplish and why in 2024? Okay. So I'm gonna stop the share. I'm going to break you up into 2, let me see. Yeah, just 2 groups. And let me see. Where's my breakout rooms? Okay. We're just going to do 2. And I'm going to give you about 5 minutes because I want you to have a chance to chat. Just 2 minutes not going to do it. So I'll give you 5 minutes. And when you're in your breakout room, if you want to come off your screen, then that's fine because y'all know each other. You see each other anyway every now and then in the office. So, and then I'll talk about that for just a few moments and I'll see you in 5 minutes, right? And here we go. Just accept your rooms and jump on in there. All right, jump on in there. Hopefully it should be okay. iPhone, we just need for you to jump into a room. iPhone may not be able to jump into a room. Okay.
And career goals, it was really tailored a lot towards, helping the teams and things like that. So
Yeah,
a lot of care on our call and our team. So that was nice to hear.
that's fantastic, man. And that's what the workforce development is really all about when you think about it. We're a group of caring people.
Yeah.
We do this work because we care about folks. I tell some folks, I know this would not be the job for you.
Yeah, right.
Because you lack empathy. So stay away from workforce development because it's not a good field for you. So thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Anybody else? One more person? Just kind of an overview of what you discussed in your room? Anybody feel comfortable sharing?
I don't mind sharing.
Thank you.
My professional goal is to, because before I came here, I worked with youth for decades. So was excited when I came here and there's a youth program. So I really want to start a youth mentorship program that encompasses our business services department in, when we're making connections with those employers, seeing if you have individuals who would like to be mentors. And so all of those things.
Yeah.
And my personal goal is to purge half of my household items by the end of the summer because my fiance is going to move in and he's got a lot of stuff and I got a lot of stuff. So
Woo, I'm laughing
Yeah.
because I got to tell you something funny. And thank you for sharing what you shared. It's great insight. But, I'm in Florida actually right now, but we have a house in Delaware. That's where we raised our kids. And so we said, we're going to redo the place. We did. We renovated the entire place. You don't want to know how many, I'm not talking about but containers we use out in front of our house to, achieve this outcome. So it was just amazing, okay. Well, thank you so much for that. That time that sharing that information for those of you who shared. It's really important to understand that vision is like the foundational building block to what it is we're going to do. Like, so what and most of you here in some capacity are leaders. So I like to chat from a leadership perspective. You really want your team to have vision for your area, but envisions for their assignment. Because in the case, like, for instance, what you, Tracy, with contractors, those are things, that's conversation. Hey, what's the vision that you have for your agency? What's the vision that your people have? This, and some folks don't understand that too well, but it's nice. It's a nice conversation because it kind of gives a little bit of a blueprint of what we're trying to accomplish, what we want to accomplish. So thank you all for that. They were really good, personal and corporate things. So let's jump in here and just continue on. So with vision, keep in mind, vision is the why, okay? That's the why I want to. That's what we say more in 2024. That may sound like, okay, what does this got to do with more in 2024? Because when we do things this way, we'll accomplish more. We will, because we're going to be strategic, we're going to be focused, and we're going to be on point as far as what do we want to do. So we did that already. So the second part of it is planning. Now, what I want you to write down is this. Coach just kind of set you up because I said, let's look at the year, okay? Now what I'm going to say to you is, years are a long period of time. All right. Out of curiosity, you don't have to admit this, but how many of you ever said you're going to do something this year? Like, I'll use myself. I'm going to really stick to my diet this year. I'm going to stick to this diet. I'm going to be the same way I was in high school one day. I'm going to get back to the high school weight. And then, January, I really kind of don't do it. And February, I play around with it. And March, I was like, well, I got, okay. But then in March, I can say, well, it's March. And I have, another 7, 8 months to go, how many months to go. So what I'm saying is, with planning, we want to be kind of on the long-term side as far as vision, but short-term as far as processes and systems. And so with planning, we have to look at, what am I looking to do over the next 30 to 60 days to achieve that outcome? Does that make sense? Am I being logical here? I just want to make sure I'm not saying something that seems off in left field. Are there any questions, all right, about this? Okay. Because what we want, the vision for what we're trying to do in our departments, the people we're trying to impact, things like that, we want to be action oriented. Like, say, for instance, for me, this is on the personal side. I wrote my plans out for family time. And so what I've done is I wrote in my plan, like, I look at what I want to do for the year, and I said, like with my wife, because we both get really busy, I want to at least date twice a month. You know, so we've selected the day, which is the second and fourth Saturdays. Yeah, thank you, Chris. And so we said, okay, second, fourth Saturdays for my wife. We're gonna go somewhere. I said, you pick the last Saturday, I'll pick the first. So this Saturday, we're going, we live in Florida, so this is a Florida thing that y'all don't know about. We're going alligator putting. There's a putt golf with alligators, live alligators down there. Don't ask me why I want to do that. My wife is adventurous, so I always try to find something adventurous for her. She likes that kind of stuff. So, and then she'll pick something. Then my son goes to college here, and my other son lives here. So I said, okay, every second and fourth Friday, I'm spending with my boys. And then my girls, we plan sometimes that we're looking at, you know, a couple of times a month as well. So what I'm saying is, it's gone from, I have 2 girls and 2 boys. It's gone from saying I'm going to do it with them to putting together a plan. All right. And so what I want you to do, what can you do to ensure your plan is adhered to in 2024? And when you think about what it is you want to do that was in that vision, you can look at some action steps. You can talk about maybe some type of accountability systems. A lot of organizations we work with, we actually put you in what we call accountability groups, where maybe 5 or 6 of you will get together for a cup of coffee once a month. And they don't have to be live. It could be a virtual, what I call a virtual cup of coffee, where you have coffee here and you spend 10 minutes together, 15 minutes together, talking to each other. Like when we do our self-care training, we do that all the time because you got to be held accountable. So I'm going to put you back into another breakout room, and I want you to talk about planning and what can we do to ensure, right, that we are going to achieve these goals. Maybe I'm going to break it down by month to month. Maybe I'm going to put something together every other week. So here's another 5 minutes. Now, we're not going to do these breakouts for every one of these. I just want to kind of, these 2 are important. So we're going to do the breakouts for these 2. So do y'all got that? We good? You understand what I'm saying now? I got this vision. It's clear the impact I want to have for our groups, workforce development, county agencies, wherever you maybe work. But then what do I have to do? Put in bite-sized pieces, maybe have some accountability meetings, things like that. Okay. So I'm going to put you back in the breakout rooms for another 5 minutes, because these 2, what we're doing right now, are really of significant importance to the achievement of the goals that you set out to achieve. Okay. So let's do that. Let me see. All right. And we'll still do 2 breakout rooms, and we'll see no, actually we got to move some folk around. Recreate, because there we go. All right, let me do this. I'm actually going to, just 1 second, because I know what I'm trying to do here, and all right, let me do this. There we go. All right, you ready? 5 minutes, and we'll come back in. Here we go. Look forward to. What do you think is one of the more significant aspects of that process there? Like, what does it trigger, or what does it get you to doing or thinking? We'd love to hear your thoughts, maybe what you chatted about in your breakout.
I think, Coach, starting small. So first of all, going back to what you said, I no longer do New Year's resolutions. I personally consider them pointless, because it's like you have this big thing, and then, like you said, like, oh yeah, I'm going to lose weight. And then by the first week, you've already had your pizza, your chocolate chip cookies, or whatever.
Yep.
And so I think in some ways, I think even starting smaller than that, like So this week, I'm just not going to eat any cookies.
Mm-hmm.
And then every single day you get up, okay, I want that chocolate. Well, you know what? I can have fruit at breakfast instead of those chocolate chips that are sitting right over there that I really feel I want to throw in my pancakes.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And you do it, whatever it is, one small goal at a time, not 20 of them, not 30 of them. And even if that one goal takes you 6 months to do, you feel more of an accomplishment than if you had
Mm-hmm.
done 30, tried to accomplish 30, because it's just not, you're setting yourself up
I
right
love that.
there.
I absolutely love it. And let me tell you something. You are tapping in to something I share all the time with my coachees. Now I do a lot of individual coaching. And when we do like leadership coaching, whatever, or self-care or whatever area we're focusing in on, we always say that in order to achieve long-term success, you got to start with small strategic steps. And let me tell you why. Then I'll go into the last few, and I'll let you all, kind of let you go here. The reason why is because the reason why we slip back into the ways we do things, that's why this process I'm telling you about is really unique, Tracy, is because we have these things that most of you all know because you're in this field, a thing called neurological pathways. Anybody ever heard of that before? Neurological pathways? Yeah. Kelly, what did you know about them? What have you heard about them?
Well, just that we are constantly creating new pathways in our brain, and we have the ability to do that over and over and over and over.
Yep.
So, right,
Mhm.
like, and it's
Mhm.
just, I always think of it when I think of like I always think willpower is a load of junk. It's all about habit and doing things over and over until it just becomes part of your thing. So that's how
Yeah.
I think of pathways. Like, you just keep doing things over and over, and you can constantly change your brain.
It's really interesting. Thank you for that. And what's interesting is when I think about like a neurological pathway, I think of a pathway. Like one thing, my kids always we like going to hiking, going to the woods and the paths that they have is just, they're pretty clear, okay, just walk down this path. Now, if you go to the left, there's a bunch of bushes and a bunch of weeds. You don't want to go there because now you'd have to carve out a new path. You'd have to cut some of those down. That's a little too much work. Let me just go the path that I'm comfortable with because it's right there. That's what it is with neurological pathways. And those were shaped by habits. That's why next month we're doing habits. Because a lot of the things that we do subconsciously because the pathway is clear. We've cleared that pathway out and our mind's like, okay. And the interesting about this, and I don't want to get too philosophical here, and it goes back to what you just said a moment ago, and it's true. We don't realize that a lot of what we want to do, we can't do because our minds really don't control us. We control it. Like we can tell it what we want to do. It's not designed for it to tell us what to do. And so, but that takes place by creating new neurological pathways via habits. So that's why Tracy triggered that in me because just one little bit at a time, repetitive, over and over and over again. And then all of a sudden that pathway is being shaped. And so to your mind, it's kind of like, that's the new way to do things. So like in the case of what we're doing in workforce, those little things that we want to accomplish, we take them one step at a time. And then ultimately we see people succeed. Like we ran a youth program, I'm glad you mentioned youth, called HYPE. And HYPE is an acronym for Helping Youth Pursue Excellence. And so HYPE became one of the top youth programs under WIA, not WIOA, but WIA, which was before WIOA. And HYPE, listen to this number, you won't believe it, with serving the most, what they call difficult to serve. I hated using that term, youth. I never liked all of those terms. We had a 90% high school graduation rate. We got kids through school that people thought they were impossible. But let me tell you what we did real quick. This is about habits. We always believe that you need systems. So we created one that's called RID. And I know that sounds weird, but RID, the R stands for relationships, the I stands for identity, and the D stands for dreams. And what we said is and then we had two core philosophies. One was kids aren't committed to programs, kids are committed to people. So my program is nothing but a hook to get them in here. And the second one is a student with a dream is a student with a future. However, a student with a dream is fueled by a caring adult who believes in their dreams. We operated within RID. We operated within those two core values. We had over 400 young people that we work with, and we had over 90% graduation rate. Why? We didn't do a million things. We just did a few things well. We helped them understand relationships. We helped them understand identity and their dreams and what they need to pursue it. And we surrounded them with caring adults, mentors, people that care. So that wasn't complicated. It wasn't overly complicated. It wasn't any of that. It was just doing simple, basic day-to-day things. So, and that was a part of our system, of doing things. So let me go through these last few, and then I'm gonna let you go from here. So thank you for taking the time to do that. The last few on process, the scorekeeping. And so what this is now in the process, keep in mind, we're talking about more in 2024, and how we're going to get there. Well, we're going to keep the score. I like this quote that I heard that said, we could be winning and think we're losing if we're not keeping the score. Like a lot of my customers, I'll say, look at the small wins. How many people did you place this week? How many people did you help this week? Sometimes we only focus on the negatives and we forget, we bypass all those positives. But when you score keep, you can now say, oh, wow, we had tremendous success this week. Even though I had a few conflicting interactions with, say, maybe a few clients, a few people, the rest of it was great. But what we have a tendency to do as people is focus on just what's going bad. And that's not a healthy way to be able to move the needle in our organizations. All right. So evaluate my progress. If I find myself falling behind, what steps will I do to catch up or move ahead? I got my stuff on the sheet and I got my planner. I look at my sheet like this. I got 3 things that I'm falling short of this week. So today and tomorrow, I will get them done. Because why? I have something, I'm keeping score. I got a plan and I'm sticking to it. And so it helps me to stay consistent, and then you start to see outcomes. On the other hand, if I'm making progress, what measures will I implement to sustain and further propel my momentum? So it's not just looking at what I'm not doing, but hey, if I'm doing some things well, like one thing we did with our program, with our youth program, Judy, who is our front desk person, I said, when any young person walks through that door, you smile, you welcome them. We had water and we had cookies. Would you like some water? We had to keep a lot of it because they always said yes. Kids are always hungry. So they walk in that door, they get a little pack of cookies and they got water. Boy, they loved that water and those cookies. What did that do? It set the tone for the rest of our time with them. It was just a consistent little thing we did. I told all my caseworkers, I said, the first words out of your mouth when they walk through the door, to spend time with them, tell me about your day. How can I help you? What's going on? So you didn't go right into looking at the scripted process. We connected. It was relationship. So I'm just saying and so then you start to see young people do this and you keep the score. You say, oh man, so-and-so did this. So-and-so's, their grades improved. So-and-so is doing well in their after school program. So-and-so, all these different things. Because, so it's just little things that we do. And then that's really, with the scorekeeping, is about measuring. You see what I'm saying? It's about measuring. Yeah. Yeah, there you go, Kelly. I'm so glad you're here. It's amazing the little things we do that produces the big outcomes. That's why I love training people who work with youth, because we did it at a very high level. And I let them know, one thing I let them know is we said we never allowed them to set the culture. We set it because they may come in with certain dispositions and all that. We can't go there. We got to keep the culture positive for their sake. But that's a process. Okay. And then lastly is time use. All right. How can you strategically organize your goals? By creating dedicated time blocks to focus on achieving the desired outcomes. So it's kind of like, okay, I'm gonna do some time blocking. Monday, I'm gonna spend 2 or 3 hours doing this. Tuesday, what you start finding is the things you're trying to do don't take a whole lot of time. It just takes consistency. And if I do it over and over again, guess what? I achieve some outcomes. So before we get ready to wrap this up, has anyone ever heard of time blocking before? The Pomodoro methodologies and all that? Anyone heard of that at all? At all? Yeah. Josephine, have you heard of it before? Time blocking? Can't really hear you.
Ask Kelly. She actually said that exact word as part of her execution plan.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I've recently heard of the one where you like set a timer and work really hard for like a certain amount of time until
Yep.
the timer goes off.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? As simple as that stuff seems, like, be honest with you, know what my best friend is for me? My timer on my phone. I'll say, I got, some proposals to get done, let's say. I just put that out there. And I have between 2 to 4 to do it. I turn that on, I shut down all of my anything, social media, I don't, nothing, no calls, I turn my ringer off and I get busy. So that I can isolate that time just for what I said I'm going to do. Because you know what happened? The phone rings, the text come in, the email pops up, and I am fully distracted then. You know what I mean? I'm back off into la la land. Whereas when you put a system in place, you start to see progress because guess what, man? You start seeing these outcomes, and you're like, wow, that's awesome. I'm actually making progress. And so I'm just gonna say to you that this is really, these things that we talked about. I'm just gonna see if I can get this to work for me. And go back to that page right there. The vision, planning, process control, the scorekeeping, and the time use are how you can do more in 2024. Because once you start to put stuff in order, everything else falls in line. The system itself is going to produce the outcomes for you because you do it over and over again. I work out every day at my old age, but I've been doing it so long, my body doesn't know anything else. I wake up in the morning, I roll out the bed. Do I want to get out of bed at 5:30? Nope. Is my mind telling me, man, another half hour of sleep would be phenomenal? Yep. But I get up and I go work out and I always feel better afterwards. I feel better, and I start my work day, I have energy, I do my training, my coaching, my speaking, and I'm authoring books, I'm writing blog content. I mean, because why? Those systems I put in place are driving my behaviors and my actions. So are there any questions? I hope this made a little sense to you. It's a different kind of a training for, I know workforce development, we don't do a lot of this. It's not like our day-to-day workforce development type training, and we do a ton of that kind of stuff. I did put I think I put my email and all that in there in my website. So if you want to know more about who we are and what we do, it's right there. People always feel free to share it with other people if you like. But we believe in tactical, basic, strategic type things that you do consistently to produce outcomes. In workforce, just like corporate and education and anything else, we need to be strategic. We need to be innovative, and we need to think outside the box every now and then. So kudos to your organization, Chester County Workforce, for another opportunity to do this and train and work with you. We've trained on many topics, but let me pause for a moment and ask, are there any questions? Any questions? Is this logical? Did this make sense today? I hope I didn't go over in left field and like lose you at any point. Okay, good, good. Well, I hope this information was helpful. I always say that the best way to learn something or execute is go teach someone. So if you learn something today, go teach somebody. And what you'll find is a lot of times it sticks more when you teach it. So I gave you a lot of good information, maybe somebody on your team or who knows your kids, if they're not that organized and got sloppy rooms, you give them some tools to fix that problem. But I hope this information was helpful. So with no questions, thank you all so much for your time. And don't forget
Yes,
next
thank
month,
you.
remember next month, we got that Atomic Habits. That's going to be some powerful stuff. So make sure you let other folks know too, because this is open to all the stakeholders that are in the county. So Thank you. Take
That's
care.
a
now.
good book too, Atomic Habits.
I
That's a
love
good
that
book.
book.
That's a good book.
That's one of my favorite books. Yep.
That's a
All
good
right.
book. Thank
Yeah, I
you.
look forward to seeing you. And let's let folks know
Thanks.
about it because it's going to be good. Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Thank
All
you
right,
so much.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Mhm.